Hi there, my lovely people. My name's Alex and I run the Autism Acceptance page on Facebook. Obviously, if you're seeing this on Facebook, you will know that. If you're seeing it on YouTube, I will drop a link in the comments section to my to my Facebook page where you can go along and check it out. I cover a wide range of topics on autism and related topics. I highlight autistic content creators. So yeah, if that's something that you are interested in or you think you might be, then drop into the comments and click the link. Well, today I want to talk about biochemical channeling. Excuse me. Now, I'm sure you've heard me talk about on my page biochemical talkback and biochemical feedback. Now, every time we have an experience, we get a sensation inside us. And if that sensation is telling us about our feelings, then it's feedback. If that sensation isn't telling us about our emotions or giving us any kind of message, then that's talkback. So things like, when you get butterflies in your stomach, that usually comes, you usually know why. But you can feel that sensation. Say if you're going, if you're going up on a roller or on the big wheel or something like that, or you're coming down something, and your stomach kind of goes. And you do always feel sensation according to input. We don't always register that sensation, just like we filter out all sorts of things within our senses, our hearing, our sight, tactile. Most of us don't notice the labels in our clothes, or well, I did when I was a child, and now I just wear things that are more comfortable. But you know what I'm saying. Our brains are designed to filter out things that we don't need, but it doesn't mean that those sensations aren't there. It just means that we're not registering them because we can't focus on anything. We can't process everything at the same time. So our brains are a filtering tool. So what can happen? I was looking at some work on information on shutdowns and meltdowns. I don't know if you saw the two videos I did. Stephanie Bethany on the main video talking about shutdowns and meltdowns, and then I put Rebel Face, neurodivergent rebel, her of the Rogue Rebel Revelations. I put her video of the same variety in the comments section. Now she's a bitch, neurodivergent rebel, or Krista, whatever her name is. I got, apparently she's married, so I thought Krista Holman, but I misgendered her. She's Rivera. She goes under the handle, oh God, what's it? Lyric Lark Rivera. Okay. Well, Krista Rivera anyway. Anyway, sidetracking. But whatever I think about her attitude and everything else, she has done some informative stuff on autism. She occasionally stops bitching to do that. And I did this like comparison thing with Stephanie Bethany and a neurodivergent rebel. I've done that with other content creators in the past, because it's good to hear two perspectives. A lot of the things they say overlap, are the same, but there are some different things that one of them may come up with that the other one doesn't. So it's always good to get different perspectives. So yeah, they were talking about shutdowns and meltdowns. And what they both said was, Stephanie described it as meltdowns are outward and shutdowns are inward, but a shutdown isn't calm, it's like an implosion. I always saw shutdowns as what I call biochemical sedation, but a kind of more severe version of it. And this is what I want to explain: biochemical sedation. Now, when we feel emotions, feedback, say those emotions have physical sensation, and the sensation, if you think of it as, try and just think of the sensation without the message behind what the sensation is trying to relay. It's just a biochemical storm. So what I can do is, say I'm feeling really angry and I'm bubbling inside and I've got this biochemical storm and I just want to smash things up and I shout at people, and when I get angry I tend to have a very sharp tongue, not meaning like literally, no, my tongue's quite blunt, sorry. Anyway, I won't be sticking my tongue out anymore here. But yeah, I can tend to say very cutting things, very kind of, I will find the thing that will offend you most, the worst thing I could think of to say to you when I'm really angry, and I will say that thing. And I will regret it afterwards. I probably often will regret it immediately afterwards. Excuse me. But that's how I release rage, that's how I release anger, and kind of like smashing things and not literally breaking stuff, but whacking things on a table, or just kind of getting that energy out. I don't go around punching walls or anything like that. I'm not violent, but yeah. But what I can do to calm down is I can concentrate on the physical sensation of that anger. Right, if you stare at something for a long time and you go kind of a bit, kind of almost like a dreamlike state, I can do that with my anger or my or physical sensations. So I can concentrate on that physical sensation, and then I can feel myself kind of almost getting lightheaded. You don't literally get lightheaded, I guess you could, I think sometimes if you're really riled up, you can, but it's, I don't know, imagine having a dream that you're lightheaded, a really vivid dream that you're feeling lightheaded, and that's what it usually feels like, this kind of sugary buzz inside you. If it was a sensation, it would be like a sugary sensation, a constant, with like a constant, and if it was auditory, it'd be a buzz. So a sugary buzz, and it's hard to explain this, but hyper focusing on it, concentrating on the physical sensation of something calms you down, like staring incessantly at something, it kind of draws you in, you kind of lose yourself in it. Donna Williams talks about disappearing, self and other, not being able to process other while processing self and vice versa. I don't really get that. I mean, we all get that to a certain extent, but I do get drawn into the sensation of something, and I can use that to calm down. Now, what can happen is you can do this to various states. This is what I call the DJ's mixing box effect, or the DJ's mixing board effect, where if you are having an experiencing something on the outside, that experience is the same however you feel about it. But if, say, you've had a few drinks, you're a bit tipsy, and you've had a bit of alcohol, you're still getting the same experience. You're not smashed out of your brains. You're still getting the same experience, but through a biochemical filter. Now, alcohol helps, but you don't need alcohol to get that biochemical filter. All you need is your emotions to be able to do it. And channeling that to various degrees. So over the years, I've learnt to filter those sensations. So if I'm stressed about something, it upsets me seeing something that's helpless, or if I see like an animal trapped or something, or somebody trying to restrain a child or restrain anyone or anything, I kind of almost feel anger on their behalf. I feel that kind of frustration. That goes on in life, unfortunately. You have to function, you have to learn to get on with what you're doing, to be able to do that. So I've learnt to kind of use that sensation of my state, of how I'm feeling, but to filter it. Sometimes if it's something that's really stressed me out or really upset me or made me angry, I'll go back over it at a time when I'm quiet and I can just drain it out, tune into it, feel that sensation of anger or frustration again, and really, really kind of sedate, buzz against the sensation to the point of intoxicating myself out of that state, if that makes sense. So why would we use biochemical sedation, tuning into the physical sensation of your emotional states? There's three acronyms that I've come up with: SIBS, TIBS and ETO. Now, when you think of SIBS, you think of SIB, self-injurious behaviour. This isn't self-injurious behaviour, although arguably if you do it to extreme excess, it could be debilitating. Maybe not self-injurious, but self-initiated biochemical sedation. So you would use self-initiated biochemical sedation if you wanted to dare some kind of exposure. So one example, or dare some kind of exposure to something that was emotionally or sensorily uncomfortable. but you wanted to be able to pass through it. There was a part of you. I've always struggled with affectionate touch, but I'm actually, underneath it all, I'm actually an affectionate person. So sometimes I want to be able to cuddle someone or give someone a kiss, but I'm struggling with those sensations. So being able to tune into the sensation and use it as a drug to be able to go through the process of telling someone I love them or giving them a hug or giving them a kiss, when that biochemical talkback can feel uncomfortable, what I'm doing is rechanneling the sensation, using it, putting it through the hypothetical DJ's mixing box, and using it as a drug to be able to go through that motion to self initiate biochemical sedation for something like that, to dare some kind of exposure, to deal with something that I choose to deal with. If I need to analyse a stressful situation, I can either ignore it or I can deal with it maybe through this biochemical sedation thing. So self-initiated. Trauma-initiated biochemical sedation is when something's happened that is traumatic, that is happening in the moment, and you don't have any control over it, or has happened before and you've not been able to deal with it properly, or it's not, the significance hasn't come to you. So like I said, seeing something trapped or restrained or in distress, I can't handle that. So I'll tune into the physical sensation of that prickly prickly sensation of that emotional state, and turn it into a buzz in my head that goes right through me and calms me down. And I kind of use the varying degrees of the DJ's mixer to be able to get through life, to do what I've got to do in the moment, but still be able to biochemically sedate against that distressing thing, if that makes sense. And then there's ITO, I-T-O, involuntarily tuning out. Now, when I was a kid, I had petit mal epilepsy. I don't think it affects me really now. But what it is, it's just literally, for me, it just was literally kind of like a momentary blank out. So to the outsider, somebody would say something, or I'd be looking a bit, vacant, and they'd say my name, or oh, you okay? Well, you look miles away, or whatever. Or when I was a kid, just say my name, or hey, look, listen to me, or whatever, and I'd be out of it, snapped out of it in a second. But for that split second, I wouldn't register what was going on. No, I could control it if I needed to. If I was in a situation where I needed to be safe, I'm aware of it. I'm aware that it could happen if I'm not aware of it, if that makes sense. So if I'm not thinking about it, if I'm not thinking about fighting it, then it's not so much now. But before, it used to just happen where I used to get these blankouts, this involuntarily tuning out, which I think was a lot to do with petit mal epilepsy and not so much to do with biochemical sedation. Although I think stress can sometimes bring on epilepsy or, epileptic. Well, some people have seizures. I just had those. They don't call it petit mal epilepsy now. What do they call it? Just absent seizures. And that's what it was, just a quick absent seizure. And if I forward thought about it and thought, okay, I'm going to be in this situation, I can't have one of those absent seizures, I've got to focus, then I could seem to be able to stop it, to not have it. By telling my brain not to have it, I could not have it. But you don't always think to tell your brain not to have a blank out. So that's all that was for me. So I think it's in going those three things. I think using biochemical sedation when you have got some kind of seizure or epilepsy or any kind of like that sort of thing going on in your brain can be a bit worrying for someone on the outside. But in my experience, channeling it myself and involuntarily having the feeling was different. First of all, I don't know what the feeling of I guess it was just like, falling into a momentary dream state, I guess, the involuntary tuning out. But the feeling of biochemical sedation, both trauma-initiated and self-initiated, was like a kind of sugary sensation, the physical sensations of your emotional states. So some sensations can feel, what do they feel like? There's a condition called alexithymia, where people, I haven't got alexithymia. There were times when I was a kid that maybe I wasn't sure what I was feeling sometimes. Maybe if I was overtired and feeling something else. But I don't think I did have alexithymia, which is when you don't know what you're feeling. You don't know what emotions you're feeling. But I was able to know the sensation I was getting, and I compare it to a taste. So in some ways that's kind of synesthesia, although I don't believe I have synesthesia either. It's just that kind of like so excitement. If it was a food, it would be sherbet because it was sharp and sugary. Sadness, deep sadness, would be like toffee. I don't know, it was just kind of dull but sweet. It's hard to explain. But something like apprehension and excitement, they feel pretty much similar. So if you're nervous, and you get butterflies when you're excited, and you get butterflies when you're anxious or apprehensive. Now, you can, in my experience, fear is hard to biochemically sedate against, because there's a part of your brain that tells your logical brain kicks in and tells your sensory brain, if you like, that you can't sedate me. Please don't sedate me. We need to keep this person safe. So sometimes there'd be this battle going on in my head where my part of my brain, my sensory brain, my one part of my protective brain would want to go into this biochemical sedation for emotional protection, and the other part of my brain would say, no, hey, you need to be alert because of the perceived danger that you're in, or whatever. Even if it wasn't actual danger, if I perceived it as danger, then obviously I needed to have my wits about me, and my brain fought, my logical brain, cognitive brain, fought my sensory brain to stop me from sedating against the sensation. So fear was the only emotion that I couldn't really, my brain fought against the sedation. And I think if somebody does that, which in some ways I think it is a good thing, too much of the biochemical drug, and you turn into a zombie. You don't want somebody zombified all the time, but you can't control other people's biochemical sedation, and nor should you try. That's cruel in my opinion, and highly abusive, because it's a protection thing. It's you wouldn't deny somebody pain relief, and that's what your brain is doing. It's giving you pain relief. But if you're self-initiating biochemical sedation, then why are you doing it? Sometimes you can be addicted to that drug, and there are kind of things that you can do to kind of revitalize. Good sensations, trying to make somebody feel a good emotion is always good. Making them feel comfortable, tempting them out of it. Say they've got a favourite television show or a favourite character, or they like humour or whatever. You need to offer them an offer they can't refuse. If you think of it as like the biochemical sedation, it needs to be sold to be able to, you need to sell the person, not the biochemical sedation that needs to be sold. The brain, the person's brain needs to be sold the idea that it's healthy to come out of the biochemical sedation. You can't do that by force. It won't work, and it's abusive. But what you can do is, like a really slick salesperson, you can offer them things that give them offers they can't refuse to come out of this sedation, to things that will make them feel comfortable, things that will make them feel more leveled and vitalized. So yeah, that's my experience, and I think the DJ's mixing board analogy, it's my analogy, and I think it's very interesting. You've always got the frame of what you're doing, but the interior can be different. Like I said, a DJ playing a song through the DJ's mixing board, you recognise the song, but it has a different feel to it, a different vibe to it. And that's what life can be like through biochemical sedation. And sometimes through like not just ETO from like a condition like epilepsy or something, but your brain just defaults to doing art with your sensations, and that's not always a good thing, but it's not always a bad thing. But yeah, it's what my brain does, not so much now, what it always used to do. And it's been my friend and my foe at different times. So yeah, I don't know if anyone can relate to this. One of the strategies for coming out of this biochemical sedation, as well as finding sort of like obvious levelers or taking away stress, is think about for me, to think about the taste or the smell equivalent of the emotion. So like I said, so sherbet was like excitement or apprehension, or sharp, a sharp sugary sensation. So if I was to smell a lemon or orange or some kind of citric food, just hold it to my nose and smell it, or a lemon or orange sharp citric scent, then that would help me. The smell would help me sometimes to feel more vitalized and kind of. I think the smell, the sensory sensation, sharing it with another sense was helping to shift the load onto another sense, so it isn't all coming in through biochemical sensation. So it's biochemical sensation and smell. So the filter has to happen between the two of them, which kind of can help you kind of free yourself up and be more clear-headed, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's my experience anyway. I hope this has helped. Love and peace to you all. Feel free to like and share if it has helped. And like I say, love and peace to you all. Remember, you're stronger than your struggles. Bye for now.